Good evening, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a subject to you today that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And that subject is a paradox, one that's relevant and current. It's one that we recognize actually every day, but we don't realize it. We see this thing in the form of membership symbols, and that's exactly what it sounds like. Flags, symbols of all kinds that designate membership, affiliation with a group. But this isn't about the symbols or the membership or the groups themselves. This is a universal idea that affects all group membership. So it's gonna be a short video. The paradox is membership is exclusive by definition. The idea itself is exclusive. You're excluding, you're drawing a line, a boundary, if you will, between members and non-members. And the people on the inside are members. It's pretty obvious, right? Well, that's the definition of being exclusive. So what do? Well, we have been lately, we being everyone, mainstream culture, the media, entertainment, jobs, companies, laws, all of these things have been flipping something that isn't appropriate. We've been calling a membership the opposite, which is to say that it is inclusivity. We're calling exclusivity inclusivity. That's the paradox. And within a very, okay, this is a complex idea. That's why I'm speaking slowly, because these are difficult ideas for a lot of people. I want it to kind of sink in. I'm not going to try to rush this idea. So in the last, say, 100 years, I speak a lot about history and American history, human history. In the last, just shy of 100 years in America, we Americans have experienced women's suffrage, which is women obtaining the right to vote in democratic processes where before they did not have that right. A great deal of civil rights progress and victories towards being more equal is the word, and I don't like to use that word, and I'll explain that in a second, but because it means something and people understand it, I'm going to use that word for a second. Equality and fairness, which is really the word that we want. When we're saying equal, we mean fair. We should mean fair. That's what we're aiming at, because there is no equality, but that's a separate video. In the last 100 years, we've made a lot of strides, progress, victories, and actual official recognition of rights and progress towards being fair and equitable. However, there's a point of diminishing returns. Like in most processes, there's a point where something can be abused or just simply stops returning in a positive way. It starts returning in a negative way. And civil rights advancement is no different. It's no exception. And what we've seen happening, especially since about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, is an exodus, a mass exodus of common people into a group membership that they're claiming is not a membership. I've still not named any groups, by the way. I'm probably not going to name any groups in this video, but you may or may not know what this applies to. And the paradox, I'm getting back to the subject, the paradox is when a membership with a group has the purpose, the official or unofficial purpose of promoting inclusivity, it is a contradiction. It is at odds with itself. It defeats the purpose. And the paradox is when people join a group for solidarity, there's a word for you, solidarity, to have companionship, to have backers, to have comrades, like minds, kindred spirits. We have tons and tons of words for this. when you join a group for inclusivity, to promote inclusivity, remember, membership is exclusive. So the paradox is you're hurting yourself. The paradox is there's no productive way to do that at the end of the day. What you end up doing by affiliating with anybody is you invite stereotyping. So if the thing you're trying to get away from is stereotyping, this isn't an opinion. If we're agreeing on the definition of these words, this is a fact. If your goal is to become more solid by way of affiliation, and your main point is inclusivity and to kill stereotyping, there's no worse thing you can do than to join a group, because then you become culpable for all of the group's crimes, all of its perception, all of its, everyone in that group is sharing something, at least the membership and more. So what's the answer? I'm going to wrap this up. I'm at 6 minutes. How do you fight stereotyping? How do you fight prejudice? How do you enforce rights, civil rights or any kind of rights, fairness, equal opportunity? How do you get that stuff? If not by, banding together under a flag? Because what you're going to do is alienate everyone who's not part of that group, who can't be or doesn't want to be. And there's always going to be someone, always. Unless you're talking about the flag of Earth. Maybe we need one. Maybe that's the point. But really what I'm talking about is standing on your own. And I've mentioned this in other videos. Earning it. Hard work, character, integrity, God willing, some intelligence and creativity, being independent, thinking independently, standing on your own. That's how you earn it. Not by banding together, because you're taking on the disease and the solution at that point, whatever there is. So anyway, you cannot be inclusive while being exclusive. You cannot brand something as an exclusive membership and say that it's for everybody. It just doesn't work that way. It's a contradiction of terms. But anyway, I wish everybody happiness and health, and I want you to be strong and independent, not just for you. And I'll be honest, it's for me, it's for my kids, it's for the future, it's for the next guy. I want us all to be strong and independent, and I want to, help people understand how that can happen. So that's the purpose of my video. Have a great night. If you have any questions or comments, reach out at whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you very much.